Hello, happy Tuesday, everybody. Here's what's coming up tonight on Now as the state budget stays in flux with a decision coming hopefully by Friday. What could happen to amusement parks and carnival rides? We'll tell you about it.
Plus, a school project that made it all the way to Scotland. We'll tell you a little bit more about the little boat that could.
And the social media app Snapchat might not be as safe as you think. We'll tell you why.
This is News Center Now.
Hello, everybody. I'm Lee Goldberg.
And I'm Jessica Gagne in for Amanda Hill. It's a scary video that's been circulating around the internet. A teenage girl dangling from an amusement park ride in upstate New York. The heart-stopping moment when she fell is caught on tape.
Yo, catch her!
The 14-year-old girl lost her grip, fell roughly 25 feet, but a group of Good Samaritans was standing underneath ready to catch her. Amazingly, there were only a few physical injuries, and Six Flags says inspectors did check the ride out and everything was in good working order, but the incident is still under investigation and the ride is still closed.
Amanda posted to our Facebook page saying she and her family were there when it happened. She says she isn't sure how the girl managed to fall because the ride is so slow, but she says she saw the girl and her brother walk by and they looked traumatized. We followed up with her today and she says she and her family returned to the park the next day and weren't afraid to ride the other rides.
Melissa says she is glad everybody's okay, but this should be a lesson on following the rules on amusement park rides. To be clear, the investigation has not yet revealed whether it was user error or a malfunction with the ride.
Trevor says that this is exactly why he doesn't go on rides. He's watched too much Final Destination. Now, this video has gone viral, but this is this something that we really need to worry about?
Well, I mean, as a parent, you have to be concerned anytime your child gets on an amusement park ride. At least I feel like that's the case. And with fair season coming up, we sent Chris Costa out to find out how these rides are inspected and how they are maintained. Hey, Coco.
Hey, Lee and Jess, I'm here on the Bath waterfront where they're getting ready for Heritage Days. Smokey's Greater Shows is getting ready right now. They're putting up the Ferris wheel and the merry-go-round. Now, there are a number of safety checks that carnival operators must complete before they make their rides available to the public. Smokey's Greater Shows has had some accidents in the past, but there are safety procedures in place to prevent the risk of another one.
Keeping track of young kids can be stressful for parents. The whispers of the Kennebec River soothe Radek and his wife Jen as they expect their 5th child, with Bath's Heritage Days Festival just days away.
It's a lot of fun, a little bit chaotic because you got to keep track of all of them.
A few yards away, Robbie Driscoll gets the carnival grounds ready.
We got to take measurements to know where we're going to put all of our equipment.
Getting all the rides in the right places is like a big game of Tetris.
I've been in the carnival business 36 years.
Heritage Days is just one of the 15 fairs Smokey's Greater Shows participates in.
The adrenaline is what keeps you moving and going when you got to break it down, turn around and do it all that way again, and doing it safe. That's our key factor.
Driscoll says his employees perform safety checks every day, filling out a checklist provided by an insurance inspector. Every carnival operation in Maine must also get a license each year from the state fire marshal and a separate inspection from an insurance company.
Just an extra set of eyes. You may have to stop, Garth.
The fire marshal's office inspects any ride before it is used for the first time in the state. Driscoll says the biggest responsibility, though, is on his crews.
The state can only do their job so far. They inspect us, and then they leave it up to us to go ahead and keep inspecting. And I think the folks in Maine need to feel safe and fun. You can't forget the fun. It's all got to be fun.
Radek enjoys watching his kids at the fair and says he uses his judgment before letting his kids do any activity.
My kids' safety is a priority, and if there's anything that I would question, I would probably have to make that educated guess and judgment in terms of them going or not going.
Now, Smokey's has 2 new rides that they're planning to open up later in the fair season. Those will be inspected by the fire marshal's office. Driscoll actually reached out to the state to start up a safety seminar for his crews to go over the best practices when it comes to setup, operation, and breakdown.
Chris, with the possible state shutdown coming up, what about the fire marshal's investigators? Would they be sidelined as well?
Well, Lee, Obviously, state fire marshals investigators are state employees. They would be affected by a government shutdown. I spoke to State Fire Marshal Joe Thomas earlier today. He says about half of his employees are considered essential, meaning they will still come to work, but they will have to try to make up for the other half of the employees that will not come to work and try to make up for that ground while they come here and inspect the rides throughout the state.
All right, thank you so much, Chris. We will have much more about possible effects of a state government shutdown tonight at 5:30 and 6. And if you're thinking of heading to a fair or a festival in the next few days, the weather might be on your side.
Yeah, unless you're going right now, because we've got thunderstorms moving on in, Casey.
Yeah, right now it's not a good time for it. Let's have a look at the radar right here across southern Maine. You can see quite a few of them. I'm just going to scoot over to the weather desk just so I can kind of track some of these. They fell apart a little bit over southern Maine as they moved on through, and that's not atypical. A little bit of marine influence, more than anything, just kind of ran out of juice here. So these are garden variety thunderstorms that are rumbling through Lewiston and moving into Litchfield eventually here, just to the north of Brunswick here. Looks like they're missing the mid-coast for now. They'll get in there eventually. We had a severe thunderstorm up towards Presque Isle. That one is still gnarly, but it's going right over the border into Canada, and it's not our problem anymore. A couple of strong storms across Aroostook County. A little bit of hail was reported in Kingfield, just in the Sugarloaf area, as that thunderstorm moved through. Most of the nastiest storms, though, are off to our south and west, down across parts of Massachusetts. We'll watch these, see if they make a move along the coastline, but thus far, the ones with rotation, bigger hail, all that kind of stuff has stayed down across southern New England. And typically speaking, you don't have that much more time for these thunderstorms to grow and affect us before they dwindle tonight. We'll talk about the rest of the forecast, guys, in just a few minutes.
There's a case of measles in Maine for the first time in 2 decades. Measles can be fatal and the disease is highly contagious. The Maine Centers for Disease Control sent out a notification this afternoon asking anyone who may have come in contact with the patient to monitor themselves for symptoms. Potential exposure spots are in Farmington, Kingfield, and the Franklin Memorial Hospital. Anyone who may be showing symptoms such as fever, rash, or red eyes should seek medical attention, according to the Department of Public Health. If you're taking a road trip this weekend, you may be in luck. Stunningly, gas prices are expected to be lower on the 4th of July than they were on New Year's Day. Gas Buddy, a consumer data tool, says they've never seen this in their 17-year history. They're projecting a nationwide average of $2.21, which also happens to be the lowest Independence Day price per gallon since 2005. A state trooper purposely crashed his cruiser last night to stop a wrong-way driver. A public safety spokesperson says they received a number of calls about a car going the wrong way on the main turnpike in the Sabattis area. When the trooper spotted the car, he used his cruiser to push it into the guardrail. The police officer suffered minor injuries, officials say. The wrong-way driver said he got confused in a construction zone. Officials say he drove the wrong way for 4 miles.
In this day and age of social media, everybody has the ability to post pretty much whatever they feel like, and sometimes that comes with a little bit of controversy. Now, in the world of public safety, there is some growing concern over some Facebook pages that do not always post accurate information. Some of these pages have thousands and in some cases even tens of thousands of followers. The admins apparently listen to police scanners and then send out information. Sometimes it's complete and accurate, but sometimes police say it is not.
One of the major concerns is there's stuff that they put out the information that really isn't true. It can endanger the officer and it can endanger the public because it's not true, and so they're going on false assumptions that there's something true when it's really not.
Chief Mulheron also stressed that since most police departments do have some type of social media page, make sure you're getting your information straight from them so you can be sure it is legitimate.
A toy boat from Maine washes up on the shore of Scotland. We'll find out how this pint-sized ship survived the transatlantic journey. But first,
I'm glad that my kids don't have this for that exact reason.
Your Snapchat app might be tracking you right now and sharing your location with others. We'll show you how to turn it off after the break.
Coming up tonight on 207, he's a singer, a songwriter, and one of the all-around really cool people in the world of music. We're talking to Britain's great Richard Thompson. And we're in the kitchen making a crab meat salad. We hope you join us tonight for 207.
Many of us are familiar with the popular app Snapchat, but are you familiar with its new feature that shows people your exact location every time you use the app?
Yeah, this is scary stuff. It's got parents concerned, police concerned about privacy as well as safety. To use the feature, all you have to do is pinch your screen and then a map shows up. But look how much you can see. Street names, pictures of the buildings that people are actually in. Police say they can understand why people might think this is a cool feature, but they can already see some potential consequences.
Like we've got kids in the military, they're going to have this thing on and, hey, we can't tell people where we are. Well, go on your Snapchat and that's where they are. Yeah. One of the things you can see with it is bullying, not just cyberbullying. And if somebody has a problem with somebody else, hey, I know right where they are, or they're isolated, now's my chance to get them.
Yeah. If you do use Snapchat, you want to get rid of this feature, you should click on the settings button, choose ghost mode. You can still see who is around, but they can no longer see you. We've got some comments from you guys on this. And Teresa has a great point. It says Snapchat should have had to tell you before they updated this and let you know exactly how to go into ghost mode and what that was going to be, because these apps, they push updates. We see there's an update on our app, we're like, yay, an update, and we all hit yes.
How often do you check the settings and actually see what you updated?
Right. So you never know what you're actually getting, because you just said, okay, I'll take the update. So that's a great point, Teresa, and thank you very much.
All right, still to come on Now.
I think they're thrilled that it landed. I think some of them didn't think it would ever hit land. I know some of them didn't, and I always say, ironically, that's why they named it The Little Boat That Could.
A perilous journey across the Atlantic Ocean landed this little boat in Scotland. A fun experiment with awesome results for some kids in Kennebunk. That's coming up after the break.
And thunder may be booming. We'll check in with Boom Boom Carson after the break. A big voyage for a very small boat from Maine, an ocean-sized surprise for the team that launched it.
The aptly named Little Boat That Could was a project completed by the Alternative Education Group from Kennebunk High School. The 5-foot-long boat hit the ocean on December 29th and started sailing west from George's Bank. No one knew how far it would actually go, and students and teachers were shocked when someone discovered it washed ashore in Scotland last week.
This thing was powered by nothing but the wind and traveled 2,800 miles. It was in the water for 168 days, a trip that the kids tracked and documented on a Twitter account. The people who found it on the beach had an idea of where it came from thanks to the boat's decor, all part of the kids' plan to connect with another culture using a modern-day message in a bottle.
The kids decided they wanted it to look like old-fashioned luggage, so they had an elevator speech, and they went to all the businesses in Kennebunkport, kind of told them what we were doing, told them about the project, and asked if they wanted to have their sticker on the boat. So that's actually ultimately how we were identified, because there were stickers from the trust, there were stickers from all the local businesses, and it's been amazing to build community, because everyone's following it. Their sticker is on the boat, so they've been following us all along the year, you know, and seeing where we're going. So the Coast Guard brought it to a primary school there. So in the fall, we're going to regroup and get the kids in touch with each other, repair the boat, and they're going to send it off. I think this kind of programming with hands-on learning is absolutely vital to kids who struggle with that. Sitting in the classroom day after day, and this is an opportunity for them to get an education and graduate and do it in a way that fits their learning style.
All right, so the obvious question is, how does this happen? How does the boat actually get there?
Well, so the idea of trade winds is just the general direction that the wind tends to flow. And if you think about the way our weather works from west to east, right, we watch storms in general come from California and then come up. This is a real-time animation, and this is just one part of the atmosphere, but you can see the general gist of it getting it over towards Europe. And you'll notice that it went towards Portugal and then spun back up. I can only theorize because I don't know the exact dates here, but chances are it got caught up in a low pressure system there. They get some really wrapped up lows here just to the south of the UK. Sat there for a while. That low weakened, and then it caught a current back up. So this could have gone different locations based on the weather, But if you were to drop an object from the East Coast, it's particularly north of the Carolinas, you would expect that it would end up somewhere in Europe.
I can't believe you're like, oh, maybe it got caught in a storm, but this is a 5-foot
I was gonna say,
little
it's not
bug.
like this is like the Titanic.
Yeah.
This is a little thing.
But it's totally at the mercy of the wind, and that's what's dictating it. It's kind of interesting. Every once in a while, we'll get a snowstorm that's a snowstorm for the UK. It's the same system. It just takes a few more days to get there.
Pretty cool.
All right, now you've got to get from here to there.
I know. It won't take me 160 days or whatever the heck that was exactly. We got some thunderstorms out there. Disappointing across southern Maine, though. They kind of fizzled out here. There wasn't a ton of marine air in place. I thought we might be able to get these right to the coast. Thus far, though, just a few rumbles of thunder. The nastier storms actually starting to blossom here, just south of Millinocket. Millinockett's been on a roll with thunderstorms lately. I feel like the last strong storm outbreak we had, they got hit, and they're about to get slammed with this one. Probably 2 hailers right there coming through just into Millinocket in the next 10 minutes or so. And then we had some severe storms in Aroostook County. Those have crossed over into Canada, but a few garden variety thunderstorms there. So still more chances for these to pop up through the evening, but I'd say they're going to peak in the next hour or so, and their hail formation chances will decrease as the night goes on. Here we're at 9:30, just a few showers left over. By 11, pretty much nothing, and by 1 a.m., everybody is cleared out. You see a decent day tomorrow. The disturbance that moves through tomorrow is weaker than what we had today. So we'll see a couple of scattered showers, particularly in the afternoon, but nothing like the coverage or intensity that we're seeing out there today as far as thunderstorm activity. So Wednesday's a pretty decent day. Thursday starts with a decent amount of sunshine, but we do cloud up Thursday afternoon. Then this warm front becomes a factor for a day, day and a half here, starting on Thursday night with some rain showers, and then trying to push northward on Friday. Probably a split state forecast on Friday. It'll be warm down across southern Maine. It'll be probably only in the 60s, though, across northern Maine on the north side of that front. So here's Wednesday for you. You see a couple of showers, but again, coverage isn't all that intense. Thursday, we start with some sunshine. We cloud up, though. Here come the showers with the warm front. You can see where that front is trying to be over the mid-coast here by Friday afternoon. So again, watch that. Lakes region into southern Maine will be fantastic, but it will be showery and much cooler over northern Maine. Hour by hour temperatures, I want you to see a trend here. It'll be in the 70s on Thursday. Watch that split state, though, on Friday. See that? Hot here, not so much in Caribou at 69. And Saturday, the Euro keeps going back and forth on this, but I think we've got a chance to push to near 90 across the interior. It's not reflecting that yet, but every once in a while, I'm smarter than the computer model, so we'll find out. And
once in a while.
Not always, not often, actually. Shower chances, I left them in there again because just to give you an idea, you know what's going on here. Showers likely on Friday and Sunday. I think it's a warm day on Saturday. Very humid, by the way, guys, on Saturday. So even if we are 85 and the dew point's 65, it's going to feel hot. I'm liking more and more how Monday and Tuesday look, though, which are very important days for many Americans.
People asking about tonight's Sea Dogs game. Patriots quarterback Jacoby Brissett is going to be there. It has not been postponed because of these thunderstorms. So
still rolling with it. It's
it'll be
raining. But
game on.
Okay.
Yeah. In case you wonder.
Massive disruption in global systems as a new malicious cyber attack ripples across a number of countries. I'm Katie Ortiz with your Social Stop. Ukraine was hit especially hard with company and government officials reporting serious intrusions at the power grid, banks, and government offices. An oil company in Russia, a Danish shipping company, and a London-based advertising agency were also affected. It's also been reported container ship terminals in the Netherlands were hit too. And we got a warning here at the station saying we need to be careful about any strange emails or downloads, so IT departments here at home are also on the lookout. The world, of course, is still recovering from a previous outbreak of ransomware, which spread using digital break-in tools. Those were originally created by the U.S. National Security Agency and were recently leaked to the web. Now, Google is slapped with a record fine, accused of abusing, quote, its market dominance as a search engine. The Associated Press reports regulators in Europe hit the internet giant with more than $2.7 billion. The European Commission alleges Google prioritizes their shopping service even when other options might have better deals. They say it stifled competition. Google defends the searches, saying they're just making the results easier for consumers to find what they want. Now, in a statement, Senior Vice President Ken Walker says advertisers want to promote products shoppers are looking for in a quick and easy way. Quote, that's why Google shows shopping ads, connecting our users with thousands of advertisers in ways that are useful for both. Now, he adds they're reviewing the decision as they consider an appeal. All right, so some quick math. A quarter of the world's population, that's 2 billion people, hang out on Facebook at least once a month. Zuckerberg announced the huge milestone today, of course, on a Facebook post, but he has other news to celebrate too. In a new deal with Fox Sports, Facebook will live stream more than a dozen soccer matches from the Champions League, and that includes games exclusive to Facebook. Now, according to the tech news website Mashable, doubleheaders and 4 quarterfinal games are part of the deal. Now, the Champions League is the top European soccer tournament, and in a statement to Mashable, the head of business operations at Fox Sports says Facebook is a great partner to help grow soccer in the United States. We'll be back right after this.
All right, for Brain Drops tonight, we are taking questions from you, the viewer, which we would like more of because your questions are better than the stuff he makes up.
That's what he said.
Just saying.
That's actually what I said in the break. Because the fan question we got the other day did really well, and that was a viewer question as well. So Bill asks, and I'm going to break this down in a nutshell here. Basically, is Cape Cod the reason that we don't have warm ocean temperatures? Brings up specifically Provincetown. In the email that he sent me, we cut it just so we could fit it in here, but he said, in Provincetown, I heard, you can feel the difference between one side of Cape and the other, right, because of where it's located. The short answer is not really. So let me show you some maps here if I can. That's Cape Cod, obviously, right there. These are sea surface temperatures. Now, these are current sea surface temperatures. They're not averages, so they're not going to be as clean as you might see in other cases. A couple things to notice, though, here. One, some of that milder water clearly does get past Cape. It is influenced by the curve of it. Two, though, it has a lot to do with depth, right? Look at Nantucket Sound. Look at the bay here just off Provincetown. This is much shallower water. Okay. So some of the warmth you're feeling if you're in Provincetown is the fact that that's a protected kind of inlet scenario where that water can warm up a lot more. Zoom out here. This is Cape Cod up here. I wanted to show you a couple of things down across southern parts of New England, one of which being, look at this cool pool. Here, down here.
I like that.
This is having to do with depth as well. So Cape Cod is not blocking us. We never really had a chance at getting in the Gulf Stream, which is the real key to warm ocean waters. Let's show you the Gulf Stream if we can. That should be the next graphic. And that kind of shoots off the coast of the Carolinas. Oh. See that here? Mm-hmm. So look how far away Cape Cod is from blocking us from the true ocean warmth, which really ends in the Carolinas. So in short, it doesn't really have much of an impact. Maybe on a strong south wind day, it would influence it a little bit locally, but it's more our latitude and the weather that we have. I mean,
so when I'm freezing in the ocean this winter or this summer, I can be like, latitude.
Yeah, it really has more to do with latitude and currents than it does to do with the Cape Cod itself.
I now have a viewer question. I'm going to go email it to you right now.
Okay, by the way,
my question answered.
Carson@WCSH6.com or LBZ2. And complaints go to Todd Gutner still.
.com. All right, News Center 530 right now.